All right, let's talk about augmented reality. You've heard the hype for years, right? But what does it really mean for your business right now, in 2026? That's what we're going to figure out. We're going to cut through all that noise and get down to what's practical, what's actually working, and most importantly, how you can start using it. At the end of the day, it all boils down to this one thing. Every single business out there is fighting the exact same battle. How in the world do you grab even a tiny slice of someone's attention? We are just swimming in content. And that old playbook, the static photos, the simple ads, it's just not cutting it anymore. So that's the million-dollar question, right? How do you earn that attention in 2026? Well, what more and more brands are figuring out is that you have to stop just showing people stuff. You have to start creating experiences they literally can't ignore. And that, right there, is where augmented reality comes into play. So what's the big deal with AR? Well, its magic isn't really about the cool tech itself, it's about psychology. It just works because it creates this immersive experience, right? It blends the digital world with your physical space. And that makes your product, your message, whatever it is, it makes it interactive and memorable in a way that, let's be honest, a flat old web page just has no chance of competing with. Okay, so let's say you're intrigued by AR. The very first big decision you've got to make is how you're going to get it to your customers. It's a fork in the road, really. And this choice between something called Web AR and a dedicated native app, well, it's going to shape pretty much everything. Your budget, how many people you can reach, and what you can creatively pull off. All right, so let's break down that first option, Web AR. The easiest way to think about it is instant AR. Imagine your customer scans a QR code on your product, or maybe they click a link in an email, and boom, the AR experience just starts, right there in their phone's web browser. The keyword here is frictionless. There's no app store, no download, no waiting around. It just works. Now, on the other side of the coin, you've got native AR. This is the AR that lives inside an actual app, one you have to download from the App Store or Google Play. To build it, developers use the official toolkits from Apple and Google, which basically lets them unlock the phone's full horsepower. So the trade-off for asking someone to download an app, you get way more performance and a ton more capabilities. So looking at this comparison, the strategic choice really starts to crystallize, doesn't it? Web AR is all about maximum reach with zero friction for the user. It's absolutely perfect for something like a marketing campaign, a movie promotion where you scan a poster and a character pops out. But native AR, that's a different beast. It asks more of the user, they have to download something, but in return, it delivers the absolute best immersion. It can tap into fancy hardware like LiDAR, which uses lasers to map a room, for these incredibly realistic experiences. That makes it perfect for a core feature of your product, like an interior design app that people are going to use over and over again. Okay, so that's all great in theory, but results are what really matter, right? So let's dive in and see how businesses are actually using AR to get a real, measurable return on their investment. And I want to be clear, this is not some far-off futuristic idea. This is happening right now, growing businesses today. Retail is probably the clearest success story we have. AR is fantastic at solving the single biggest problem with online shopping, what I like to call the imagination gap. That feeling of, I wonder what this will actually look like. Well, AR closes that gap. It lets you see, instantly, if that sofa is going to fit in your living room, or how those earrings really look on you. This isn't just a cool trick. It's a direct assault on that anxiety we all feel before we buy something online. And here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the cold, hard data. Research from Shopify found that products that have 3D and AR content get a 94% higher conversion rate. That's almost double. And why is that? Well, it's because AR transforms this abstract idea of a product into a real, tangible thing right in front of you. It becomes an emotional decision. You start to feel like you own it before you even click buy, and that just skyrockets your confidence. And the good news doesn't even stop at the sale. That same confidence we were just talking about, it leads directly to fewer returns. It makes sense, right? When you know exactly what you're getting, the perfect size, the right color, how it fits in your space, you're way less likely to be disappointed. We're seeing businesses cut their returns by as much as 40%. That is a massive, massive saving and a huge win for customer happiness. But look, this isn't just a retail story. Think about it. Restaurants are using AR to put a photorealistic 3D model of a dish right there on your table before you even ordered. No more guesswork. Home remodelers are letting you walk through your brand new kitchen before a single nail has been hammered. You can see how that would shorten the sales cycle, right? The applications are turning out to be incredibly versatile across so many industries. Okay, these real-world examples are pretty powerful stuff. But, and this is a big but, for any of this to work, you have to build for the hardware your customers actually have in their hands. I mean, a brilliant AR strategy is completely useless if nobody has the right device to see it. So let's get our feet back on the ground and talk about the reality of the hardware market in 2026. For years, we've all seen the headlines about some revolutionary new headset that's going to change the world. The reality, though, well, it's been a bit different. These super expensive, high-end devices have really struggled to break into the mainstream. For the most part, they're still pretty niche products for hardcore enthusiasts, developers, and some very specific business uses. And this quote from a Morgan Stanley analyst about the Apple Vision Pro really just sums up the whole challenge perfectly. He points to three things: the crazy high cost, the physical form factor, and a pretty slow start for native apps as the main reasons it just hasn't seen broad adoption. We've even seen reports that Apple had to cut back on its production plans. So, where has the headset market actually landed? Well, it's right here. The MetaQuest line absolutely dominates, with an overwhelming market share of around 80%. So for better or for worse, when you're talking about a user base outside of smartphones, this is where it is today. So here's the crucial takeaway for any business thinking about this. A practical, workable AR strategy has to be built on the hardware that people already own. And what is that? Well, first and foremost, it's the smartphone that's in every single person's pocket. And if you are thinking about dedicated headsets, it means focusing on the affordable, accessible devices that people are actually buying, like the MetaQuest. All right, so we've covered the why, the attention economy, we've covered the what, web AR versus native, and we've covered the where, the hardware reality. So now let's pull it all together into a simple framework that will help you decide which path is the right one for your business. Look, at the end of the day, your choice here shouldn't be about the tech. It should be about your business goals. Plain and simple. You should go with web AR if you're doing a big marketing push, a temporary campaign, or if you just want to test out an AR idea with the biggest possible audience for the least amount of money. On the other hand, you should choose native AR when performance and quality are everything, when AR is a core part of your product, and when you want to build a loyal group of users that will keep coming back. And listen, getting started with all this doesn't have to be some overwhelming, complex project. You can really just break it down into 4 simple steps. First, define your main goal. What's the one thing you're trying to do? Increase sales on a specific product? Generate some marketing buzz? Get super specific. Second, be real with yourself about your technical readiness. AR needs 3D models. Do you have them, or do you need a plan to create them? Third, set a realistic budget. And remember, this isn't just about paying developers. Creating high-quality 3D content is often the biggest cost. And finally, step 4, start small. Launch a simple pilot project, test it out with real content, and then measure everything, how people engage, if it converts, and what your customers have to say. So, here's the bottom line. The technology is finally past the gimmick stage. The hardware, it's literally in hundreds of millions of hands right now. And the business case for it is being proven with cold, hard data every single day. Augmented reality is now a practical, powerful tool for engaging customers and growing your business. So really, the only question left to ask is, what are you going to build with it?